What's the best one? Pomegranate? What you know about pomegranate bird's bees? In 1995, filmmaker Mark Borchardt set out to make a short film that he called Coven. The goal of this short film was to make enough money so that Mark could use the profits to not only fund his feature film project Northwestern, but to also pay back all of the friends and family and pay off the debt that he accrued throughout the production of this film and his chase towards his American dream. At the time of Coven's production, documentary filmmakers Chris Smith and Sarah Price documented Borchardt on his journey to create the next great American film. This documentation would spawn one of the greatest documentaries ever made, American Movie. Released in 1999, American Movie follows Borchardt during his extremely long and sloppy production of the 35-minute short film Coven. And if you think I just keep mispronouncing Coven, I'm not.
It's pronounced Coven, man. What else could it be pronounced?
Coven. That's the proper pronunciation.
No. Coven. No. Coven sounds like oven, man. And
the production of Coven lasted from 1995 to 1997 and suffered from lack of funds and planning. Borchardt was also dealing with personal family issues and a rapid decline into alcoholism, but none of that was stopping Borchardt. This documentary hit me where it hurts, almost too close to home in some moments. Borchardt is just so passionate about his dream, despite being surrounded by opposition and financial issues.
God, kick f***ing ass, I got a MasterCard.
If you've ever been young and had dreams of being a filmmaker, this documentary is going to be painfully relatable. It takes me back to like high school and college, whenever I was just making dumb short films with my friends. Not a dollar to my name, just a couple of buddies with a pocket full of ambition and a handful of moral support. I think that's what American Movie captures so perfectly, is just the essence of that. I wanted to talk about this movie because it's genuinely incredible. I rewatched this the other day at an art house theater that was doing a free screening. And after a rewatch, it solidified to me how great this movie is. It squeaked its way into like my top 5 of all time. I think this is essential viewing for anyone who's passionate about filmmaking. The first time I watched this movie, I legit thought I was watching a mockumentary for the first 15 minutes just simply because of how funny it is.
2,000 and 3,000 units, right? I said, check this out. This, man. I'm sorry for erasing that, but it's 3,000 units for 45 grand.
Each person in this movie seems like a perfectly written comedy character, like in like a Tim Robinson skit. The comedic timing of some of the things that people say in this are like too perfect.
Hey Mike, make sure everyone has brown gloves.
Does everyone have brown gloves?
Oh, dude.
Mark Borchardt himself is such a character that I don't think even the greatest writer could write him, nor actor could play him. He's just so himself, and he has no shame in any of the things he says or does, whether it be manipulating family members to give him money, forcing his mother to stand out in the freezing cold for just a single shot, or having his kids sleep on the cutting room floor while he edits overnight. There's scenes in the movies where the producers interview different members of Mark's family. They all pretty much mention how different he is from the rest of them, how he's basically the black sheep of the family. And those interviews really capture that feeling of what it's like to try to accomplish something that people around you don't and probably will never understand. There's legit an interview with Mark's mom where the producers ask something along the lines of like, do you think your son's gonna be able to accomplish what he's setting out to do? And she's like, no. She just straight up says no. Two of the other main characters in this film are his buddy Mike Shank and his uncle Bill. I want to talk about Mike for a second. Mike is an interesting character because I think everyone has a Mike in their life, and you may even be somebody else's Mike, if that makes sense. The man's just there for a good time and to support his buddy. He's just a goofball that never stops smiling.
But you know that we don't.
Well, I won $50 on a lottery ticket today, but I don't want them guys to know because otherwise they'll want to borrow money from me.
He can also shred on the acoustic guitar. There's several moments where we cut to Mike in his room while he plays some riffs, and those riffs actually end up being the soundtrack for the whole documentary, which I think is a cool little detail.
Why is it a sign of voodoo?
It's an unnatural cross, Mark. It's not like a...
What do you think, when Jesus was hanging there, he thought it was natural?
There's great moments between these two friends, just sitting around, drinking, conversing, talking about movies. Sound like anyone you know? Uncle Bill, on the other hand, is the one family member that I think actually believes in Mark, even though he doesn't really act it. Bill is Mark's very, very old uncle, who at one point mentions that he has almost $300,000 in his bank account. Yet every time we see him, he's just chilling out, no teeth, sometimes no shirt, half drunk, mumbling about death. Very Charles Bukowski type person.
Cinema.
Cinnamon.
Dude.
Mark, of course, goes to Bill not only for financial help, but just for help in general, help with life, help with his movie. They just genuinely seem to like hanging out and being in each other's company. The scenes that they share are actually pretty heartwarming in a sense. The film itself is full of hilarious scenes, but also some devastatingly raw human moments that remind you that you're actually watching someone's real life. The ending of this in particular is something that's going to stick with you long after the movie's over. There's some lines in this movie that I would like legit get tattooed on my body, and I don't think anyone's ever said that about a documentary. Overall, I think this movie just perfectly captures that feeling of being so enamored with your dreams and your passions that they almost start to feel like destiny. It portrays Midwest America and the people in it perfectly. Mark Borchardt, I think, is a perfect caricature of people like me who love film and dream of one day making their own. Seeing some of the lengths he goes to just to get the shot he wants, or how he tries very unsuccessfully to get his vision across to other people. The other thing is this, though. He has talent. Like, he's not all talk. Throughout the movie, they play clips of his short film that he's making, and there's some great shots in there. Some pretty solid camera work. I think he's a very charming person, but I also think he's pretty self-destructive, and I think that's kind of the inner turmoil that we see play out throughout the film. I really don't want to say too much more because I really want you to watch this for yourself. My wife went with me to the showing the other night, and she seemed to really like it, regardless of not having that much of an interest in filmmaking. So honestly, I would recommend it to everyone. I don't think it's streaming anywhere that I know of, but if you got to pay like $3 to rent it on like Vudu or YouTube or Amazon or whatever, I say do it because this movie's important, not only to me, but I think it could be important to a lot of people. Whatever you got to pay for it, I say it's worth it. American movie. Check it out. I'm Cody Metcalf. Thank you for watching.
Unless you want to put an umlaut or something over the O.
A what? You mean those? Oh, hold on a second. Those two dots?
Yes. Possible.